Hello everybody, it's Beth here from Art Base, and today we're going to do this lovely llama. So this is part two. In part one we drew out our llama and painted our background, and I'll show you that in a moment. And part two we're going to finish it off. We're going to paint the llama and finish off the flowers and add a few final details and finishing touches. Okay, so this is where we left off in part one. So we managed to get our llama all drawn out, didn't we? And we painted our background and painted our one flower and did a lovely bit of colour blending. So we'll start with our llama today, get that done, and then we'll carry on with our flowers, get those finished off. So what we'll need, the colours that we're going to need are yellow ochre, and we talked about that in part one. So this is a yellow ochre, it's like a mustardy yellow colour, and if you don't have that you can make it with yellow and a touch of brown added in. We will need some white, a little bit of black, and maybe the tiniest bit of pink for his tongue, and then we'll choose some bright colours for our flowers. Okay. So I'm using a slightly smaller brush today. So I've got a size 8 round brush. If you've got something like this, that's great. But just a smaller brush so we can get some details. That's really the most important thing. And we'll start off by working on his face, I think. So with our llama, I want us to just start by making a creamy colour. Okay, so to make a creamy colour, we just need to get a little bit of white on our palette. So I've got my palette here, and I've got my white, and I've got my yellow ochre, and I'm just going to take a big scoop of white away. So a couple of scoops, and then a scoop of yellow ochre, and then we're going to mix it. So round and round on the spot. So we're not spreading, you don't need to spread your paint everywhere, all over your palette. Okay, because that wastes the paint and you get a mucky palette as well, don't you? So just give it a mix and then just gently wipe any excess paint off your brush. So we've got our lovely creamy colour now. And we're going to start off by just painting around the nose. So when we're painting, just little bits of paint on your brush, just tickling the paper. Don't press hard with your brush, and we're just going to paint around the nose and then just up in between the eyes. Okay, and then we're going to carry on over to the eyes, and you can see my brush strokes are going sort of up and down, aren't they? I'm not going across or doing a big stripe. I'm trying to go up and down, just pulling my brush down around the eye a little bit. So I haven't got a perfect straight line anywhere, and we're just going to take this colour and keep going all the way up to the top of his head. Okay, so pulling my brush down all the way up, and you can just go around the edge if you want to, just outlining it so you don't go outside the top of his head. So we've got our nice base of cream on his head, and then what we'll do next, we'll just give our brush a little wipe if you've got lots of paint on it, just a gentle wipe, and I just want to get a touch of yellow ochre just on the tip of your brush, and we're just going to pop a little bit, so sort of dabbing your brush just along the top of his head. So we're just going to start trying to create a little bit of form and shape with our llama so that he looks a little bit 3D, and I'm just pulling that yellow ochre just down a little bit. I haven't re-dipped my brush. I've dipped it just once because we don't want lots of paint. And I just keep pulling it down into the creamy colour. Now, if your cream has dried lots and it's hard to blend in, just dip your brush back into your cream and you can use your cream to help blend that yellow ochre in. So we haven't got a really harsh stripe at the top. And hopefully you'll end up with a slightly darker edge and then lighter in the middle just there. Okay. And then we're going to do the same on the cheeks. So I'm going to dip into my yellow ochre and we're just going to work. I'm just going to use my brush to just go along the edge. You can see I'm following the line with my brush. So I'm following that line and we're just adding little bits of paint to our brush, just a little bit at a time, really delicate painting. We're going to go right up to the edge of the nose and bring it down to the chin. Okay, round like that. And then when I've run out of paint, you see my brush is getting quite dry. I'm just going to blend this little bit in quickly. So we go back to our cream and we're using our cream just to blend where the yellow ochre and the cream meet. So just give your brush another little wipe, go back and get some clean cream on your brush, and then using that just to help blend those two in together. Okay, and then we'll go back to our yellow ochre and we'll carry on up this other side of his face. And the key to good blending is just little tiny bits of paint. So if you've got lots of paint on your brush, just knock some off, wipe some off. Because if you're painting swimming with big blobs of paint, it's really difficult for you to blend your colours together. So you can see we've got quite a harsh line there, haven't we, between the yellow ochre and the cream. So we just wipe our brush. So we've got a clean brush, add some cream, and then use that cream to just blend the two together. Okay, and you can just keep dipping into the cream and just blending it in. Okay, so we've got a lovely blend now. So hopefully it's slightly darker on the top and darker around the edge, and then lighter in the middle, the bit that sticks out the most. So we'll do his ears next. So stick with the cream that we made, and we just want to do the outside of his ears, make them a little bit lighter. So all the way up the edge, up to the top, and then really careful, don't press hard with your brush, just using the tip of your brush just to paint that little edge just down there. So we'll do that on both sides. So not pressing hard, just tip of your brush all the way round, down the other side. And if you accidentally paint inside your ear, don't worry, it doesn't matter, we'll paint over it. And then give your brush a little wipe. We'll go back to our yellow ochre, so the darker shade, and then we're going to go inside our ears and paint that a bit darker inside. Okay, and we'll do the same on the other ear. So I'm pulling my brush down, I'm starting at the top and I'm pulling my brush down. Never push your brush because that sprays out the bristles and you end up ruining the point on your brush. So always just tickling the paper and pulling your brush down. Okay, and we've got the inside of our ear done. And again, you can add a little bit of cream if you wanted to just blend in the bottom of the ears a little bit. Okay, so our face is looking pretty good. We're going to work on the neck next. We'll do this bit. So we want to go darker under the chin. So we're going to get our yellow ochre again, and under the chin we're going to paint this little section. So all the way round under the chin and then down the edge. So all the way down the edge of our llama. So all the way down, following that pencil line. Okay, and then my brush is quite dry now. You can see I haven't got any paint or hardly any paint on it. I'm going to go into my cream, and we're now going to start adding cream. So along the edge, going to add some cream, try and work it back into the yellow ochre a little bit so it blends in. And we'll just keep going, working around the edge and blending it back into that yellow ochre a little bit. We will carry on around all the way down the neck. So we're coming in a bit closer. Okay. And then I've got a little gap still in the middle. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to dip into my whites now. And we're going to just try and pick up, blend the white into the yellow ochre a little bit and just pick up a little bit of that yellow, that creamy colour with the whites. And hopefully you will get, what we're trying to get is just a lighter middle bit here. But you can use your brush just to pull some of that cream into the whites. So blending the white into the cream and then back again. And maybe add a bit more white. So we've got this lighter bit in the middle of his neck. So darker cream and then really light cream in the middle. Okay, and that really is going to help give our neck form and make it look a bit more rounded than just a flat. So once we've done that, we will we'll do his nose and his eyes now. So we're going to have to get really, really careful with our painting. And a really small brush, whatever the smallest brush that you've got, or a pointy brush if you've got one. And we just want to really carefully and really, really slowly paint the nose and the eyes. We're getting very detailed. And we're going to slow right down. We want to paint this section here. So really, really carefully. And I'm trying to leave a little white section that I haven't painted at all. Now, if you don't manage to do that, if that's a little bit tricky, you can always blob a little bit of white paint on at the end. So don't worry too much if it's tricky to do that. But the way I paint my eyes, I follow the pencil line with my brush, and that way, whoops, I've gone a little bit wobbly there, wasn't paying attention. That way you get a nice smooth, or you should get a nice smooth edge, but you have to concentrate and you have to go really slowly, and then you'll get that nice edge. Okay, and the same with the nose, and just follow the pencil line, and then you can shade inside the nose. And I didn't leave a white shine on the nose, so what I will do, I will wash my brush, dry off any drips, and then get a little blob of paint and just blob it on like that. And that's what you can do with your eyes if you didn't manage to do the white shine. And then also a tiniest little bit of white on your brush, and we're just going to go around the edge of our eyes with a little bit of white, and it might go grey, and that's fine. That's sort of what we want actually. So just don't press hard. Just going to do the edge with a little bit of white. Okay, so it will go a little bit grey, and that's what we're trying to get. And then if we wanted to do a little pink tongue, we just get a little bit of pink and a little bit of that creamy colour that we made, and mix it together so that we've got more of a sort of a peachy pink. And then you can just really carefully paint that tongue in. And then we'll let that dry for a minute and we'll come back and we will add some lovely pencil markings on and fluff him up a little bit, make him look a bit curly. So that's something we'll do, but we do need to let it dry first of all. Okay. So whilst it's drying, we can go back and finish our flowers off. So remember in part one, we painted pink and purple, or you might have chosen some different colours. We're going to use the same technique, but you can choose different colours. So I'm going to do a yellow and a pink one, or a yellow and a red one. You can use either. And we'll stick with our smaller brush. And I'm going to start with my yellow first. Okay, so we're going to go yellow from the centre out. So now you can either do one petal at a time or you can do all of them in one go, depending on how quick you want to go. So remember, we just pull our brush and we're not drawing any straight lines. We're leaving a sort of a little higgledy edge, aren't we, around. So I've just painted a little bit of yellow on each petal coming out from the middle. I'm going to wipe my brush. I'm going to get the tiniest little bit of pink. And now we're going to start at the tip, outline it, and then just dragging that pink down into the yellow. So we'll do a few. So outline to get that nice edge, and then pulling the pink down into the yellow a little bit. So all the way around. And you might want to do a few petals at a time. So once you've done maybe 3, wash that pink off your brush because it's very bright. And with a clean brush and a little bit of yellow, just use a little bit of yellow just to blend it in. You will pick up a bit of that pink, but that's fine. We'll end up with sort of an orangey colour. And just keep. And if you end up picking up too much pink, you might want to just give your brush a little wash it off. We're just blending that in like that. Okay, so I'll carry on round. We'll do the other petals. So just outlining it first and then pulling my brush down into my yellow. And then really carefully, not pressing hard with my brush. So I've got a bit more control and the lines are nice and delicate and thin, just like that. Wash the pink off and then use my yellow just to blend it in. Okay, and then you can choose what colour you want the middle bit of your flower to be, and I might just do a purple. Okay, so the next one I think I'm going to do with a white. So we might do a blue, turquoise and a white. So we'll show you how to do a flower with the white. Okay, so this time I'm going to start at the edges, I think, and we're going to paint from the top of the petal down first of all. So exactly the same as what we've just done. So working around and then putting my brush down. You can see I'm not doing any straight lines. And around each one. Take your time. And like that. And then down. And then we'll wash our brush, wash off all that blue. Dip into your whites. Wipe off any drips first. Dip into your whites. And then we're just going to put a bit of white on our brush and working out from the middle of our flower into our blue. And you can see we're picking up some blue with our brush, aren't we? And that's making a nice pale blue. So we've got a light to dark effect. which I think looks really lovely. So you can use any colour and just add a white, and then maybe we'll just do a, should we do a yellow centre for this one? Make it a bit different. Okay. So you've got our lovely flowers painted, and if you wanted to, you could pick out some of the colours in your flowers, and we could just do a few little wibbly lines in the background, just a few little movement lines like that, just to add a little bit of sparkle. But that is optional, so you don't have to, but if you wanted to, you could. So now we can just very quickly finish off our llama. So we're going to get a pencil. I'm just going to start off on the top of the llama, got a centre point here, and I want to just do some little lines coming out and round like a big spider, like that. Coming out all the way around. Do quite a lot. You can see I'm working, I'm flicking it out and doing quite a lot. You can do some wiggly as well. Once you, so wibbly wobbly as well. Okay, and then we're just going to, once we've done that, we'll work up the sides of the ear and just some little lines flicking out, and hopefully you can see that okay. And you can do this with a pencil or a pencil crayon. So just fluffing up his ear on the edges. So some little flicky pencil lines just coming down the edge. Like that. And then we'll do some coming around his eye. So I'm following the curve around his eye with some little lines. And then down his face, so the lines are coming down his face, and maybe a few just coming outside the edge a little bit, like that. Okay, and then under his chin, and we can also just go over that line there and get that back in nice and dark. And then we'll give him some eyelashes with our pencil. So I'm just flicking with my pencil, just some little flicks on the top, and then a few underneath, little shorter ones underneath to give him some lovely eyelashes. And then just a little bit on his body, so you can go really squiggly, or you can do a bit of both. So little lines coming all the way down his neck. So some longer ones, shorter ones, and working all the way over and coming slightly out of the edge a little bit as well. And you can go a few sort of straight ones. You can use a combination, straight ones and squiggly ones. And there you have your lovely llama painting. Just finish it off, maybe a few just down the front of his nose, very lightly I would. But once you've done that, you should be done, and you've got your beautiful llama painting and all the bright flowers in the background.